Greetings everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called How to Heal the Body's Organs with Light and Intuition. Discover advanced energy medicine techniques for healers and aspiring professionals. My name is Stephen Dine. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network, and today represents an important kind of synthesis for me. I originally trained in human biology, thought about becoming pre-med, and have done all this exploration of the different spiritual dimensions and worlds. And today we're going to get to really see how to bridge these worlds in a more coherent, integrative, holistic approach to healing the body, uplifting our whole energy field. We're going to do that with a real pioneer in this arena, and I think she's got an amazing background for it. Her name is Marie Manuchehri. She's a registered nurse. She's an energy medicine healer and a medium. She's taught quite a number of programs for Shift and really has a sensibility of honoring the best of Western medicine with complementary ways of understanding intuition and light, and really creating a very integrated approach to human upliftment. So we are going to do a brand new professional training with Marie as well, and we're going to be sharing about that in the second half of the hour today. So very exciting that we're going to get to distill out her many years of research in these frontiers. So Marie, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Stephen, so much for having me and to be hosting this wonderful course that I'm over the moon excited to teach. One of the things my spirit guides taught me very early on in my awakening is that my job was also to help other healers to learn their confidence and their self-worth so that they can step into their own talents and share their gifts with the world. We don't have enough healers on Earth. We have 8 billion human souls and many animals too. And we don't have enough healers on the planet. So this is a true delight and honor for me to teach this professional program.
Yeah, well, we're super excited. The name of the program is called Advanced Healing Techniques with Light and Intuition. We'll have more time to talk about it in the second half of the hour, but it really is a great opportunity to create more healers and to advance this more integrative model that you really are a stand for. So Marie, let's begin this time together. Before we get into the course, is really talking about your personal backstory and then guiding people in some of the key principles. So let's hear about your personal backstory first.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I was raised very holistically and spiritually, but I felt drawn to become a nurse. And my family of origin actually wasn't happy about it. They're still not thrilled about that part of my life. But I loved every minute of it. I loved nursing school. I ended up working on the oncology floor, which you can only imagine. Some of my family wasn't happy about that either. My children and my spouse at the time were thrilled. And it was a great honor to work with people in an amazing transition. But while I was an oncology nurse, I began to open up my psychic abilities. I believed in them. I had had occasional experiences, but working on a floor, I think where there's so much energy coming and going, so much happening, so much transformation physically and emotionally and spiritually, it allowed me to begin to see, hear, and feel the insides of my patients' bodies. Their organs began to talk to me and tell me why they were sick or why they weren't getting better. First of all, the emotional component of the experience, because no matter what we talk about or how we help another person heal, we're always going to go back to the emotional experience that really needs to be happening in the energy organ system. After a while, I began to lay hands on my patients because I went to my nurse supervisor and told her that I was seeing things and hearing things. And I was a charge nurse. I was worried that I wouldn't call a code appropriately. I wouldn't call the code team. So I went to her to tell her what was happening. And she said, "Oh, you're seeing energy. You need to lay your hands on our patients." I went, "Okay." So I did. And for about a year and a half, I laid my hands on as many people as I could. I would go into a patient's room that I was not assigned to. So I didn't know their diagnosis, right? I hadn't read their medical record. And I would lay hands on them and I would hear and see and feel what was going on with their body and even where they were sick. And then I would go out to their chart and compare my intuitive feelings and visions and auditory experiences to what was in the medical chart. And I created an encyclopedia of my own awareness of what energy medicine means. And then people started to just show up at my house unannounced, actually asking for an energy session. They would lay on my couch or a table because I didn't have a massage table. I didn't know I was going to be an energy healer. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I am a self-taught healer, but I did take a weekend Reiki workshop to learn how to move about the body. I still teach Reiki. It's my favorite modality, but I love all modalities. People just have to choose what they love. So obviously I started a practice shortly after that. And that was over 25 years ago. I've had a very full, busy, huge practice. I've worked with people with every kind of disease, every age group, every gender, every situation that you can imagine. And it's a complete joy and honor. But one of the things my guides taught me very early on in my awakening is that part of my job was also to help healers awaken to their own gifts and to help them to step into their confidence and their own intuitive, incredible powers. So this course is a double joy for me where I get to step into that in a way that really fulfills that prophecy, if you will, on a bigger level and help other healers and intuitives to understand how their guidance system works and to maintain their high frequency so that they can gain the insights that best will serve the people that they touch.
Well, it's so exciting that you emerged into all of this organically and that it just naturally unfolded from your own experience and people being called into it. So you talked about how the organs would start to talk to you. So I understand from your method is that there's a deep dialogue, a deeper dialogue than we're aware of with the body that can happen. So maybe share a little bit about your perspective on that and how different organs have different intelligence and just a little bit about how you relate to as a healer to the body now.
Great question. So the entire body is incredibly intelligent. Every cell is talking to every organ is talking to every cell. They're all very intelligent. What some people learn when they learn about energy, whether they learn that in a class or maybe they just make an assumption about it, that they're looking for the darkness or the gray in the body because they know that that's where the lower energy is. And perhaps they want to fill it with light in order to heal the body. But I don't see it that way at all. I think the body gets really excited and happy when a healer begins to engage with them. The body kind of reminds me of dogs and cats. Like if there's a healer around and they start doing energy work, the animals in the home start to come to the healer. They start walking. They love energy medicine. They love the awareness of consciousness. So the body is just like that. So it doesn't get gray. We're not really looking for darkness. We're looking for light. We're looking for a part of the body to engage in its own frequency and vibration. It's going, hey, I'm over here. I'm over here. This is where all the information is. This is where the problem is. It's not really in the low frequency vibration. So when we're scanning or moving into the body, we're actually looking for bright light. We're looking for a homing device to call us into that energy because that's where the information is going to be. And if the healer maintains her own vibration, which we'll talk a lot about in the course, how to maintain it, but also if you're in a healing session and something triggers you or you get worried or your patient's telling you all of their health issues, and healers are highly empathetic and they can drop their energy when they move into caring for someone. And then that makes it difficult to keep the communication and the information flowing that's necessary in order for the person to get healthy. My very first experience, I was standing next to a patient who had cancer and she had a lot of IVs. I was changing her IV bag. And all of a sudden, the blanket that was on her, the hospital blanket, started to glow. And it was glowing on the right hand side of her body. And next thing I knew, I started to stare at the glowing. And I think if healers start to pay attention to the brightness and not worry about how it's going to happen or what the information is, you want to stay kind of blank in your head, almost like you're surprised, like you're a kid walking into a surprise birthday party. You want to stay neutral in some way, but curious. As I did that, my eyes began to move through the blanket, then through their skin. And next thing I knew, I was in the liver. And the liver told me that it had all these toxicities from the medication, which was actually kind of normal, but it was having more toxicities because of the repressed anger that was in the liver. And so, as we talk about the emotional components for each organ, which are also associated with the chakras, then each healer is going to have a guideline of how to move about, how to connect, and how to understand and teach their clients even tools and techniques so that they can continue the healing process even after a session. So the guidance about knowing what organs feel what and what repressed information can get stored in what organ is truly the key to understanding how to help the body get healthy and well forever, even.
So if emotions are very central to the actual healing process, how is it that you're able to shift that just with kind of more neutral observation, or how are you sort of working with whatever's been suppressed or stored in the body?
Such a great question. So if I'm working with someone, and we'll say the liver again, who has a liver health problem, let's say they have hepatitis, which I actually had a client who had hepatitis. He got it when he was younger, and he was very lucky that his liver enzymes didn't get to a point where he would need a liver transplant because there wasn't any medication for the type of hepatitis that he had to cure him at the time. So because we know, and we'll teach this in the class, we'll talk about all the organs, all the emotions, they're all related to the chakras. So the chakras are meant to have a particular emotional component. So because liver stores anger, I talked to him about it. I shared that with him. And I think it's really important to have a dialogue and a conversation with our clients. I think they need to know what we're even interpreting or what we're sensing or what we're feeling, what our knowledge base is regarding what's happening, because people are really bright and they want to participate in their healing if we let them. So as I was laying my hands on that part of his body, that liver area, I was feeling the opposite of anger. So I was re-educating the liver on what it's normally meant to be feeling: peace, calm, relaxation, understanding, letting go. The opposite of anger is really being able to let go and to see the beauty in all things. So I would hold that vibration in my own body just naturally, while I would have my hand above the area so that his liver could absorb that light. He would also begin to change his perceptions. Interesting enough, within a year's time, because he told me he wanted not to deal with this disease anymore. And I said, well, I can't guarantee you that's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure that we can keep your enzymes at a healthy level so that you never have to deal with, symptoms of the disease. Well, lo and behold, a year later, modern medicine actually created a new form of healing for the type of disease that he had. And it was a 6-week treatment. Not everyone actually recovers with the medicine, but he did. So now he has zero trace, exactly what he wanted, of hepatitis in his liver, as if he's never had it before. So this is kind of an example of, if we go in here with more curiosity, if we go into the body with curiosity and neutrality, we're working with the entire world, all the universe, so that people can have whatever solution will work for them. Whichever one is in the right space for them at that time, for them and their being and their body. Like, I think he was so smart to make that appointment with me at that time. He didn't know modern medicine was going to come up with a solution. And yet we prepared his liver to take in that medication so it could transcend the disease process quickly. His doctors were actually very surprised to the amount of reversal that he had with the hepatitis.
Also speaks to a deeper theme that I know you really offer, which is this very integrative approach that you work very collaboratively with Western physicians and and nurses, and so maybe share a little bit about maybe another example of how you approach that treatment, where you're really seeing what you're offering as an intuitive and energy healer as part of a team approach.
Yes, I currently have a client, a young, very young client. And once I start to work with children, I end up working with typically the mother. I always work on the kid for a little bit in a session, but I need the parents to change their perception. So this particular patient client has a very rare, serious disease. And one of the remedies that could heal it from modern medicine's perspective is a stem cell transplant, which is a very dangerous and aggressive form of modern medicine healing. But if it's the only option, okay, great. But I didn't get that feeling. I worked with the family. I actually recommended that they seek out the Mayo Clinic, which they did. They sought out another resource for them that gave them, let's wait and see, which is exactly what my intuitive approach was. I felt like the child immune system is going to kick up on its own. We just need to give it a little bit more time. It was already progressing beautifully as I had predicted. And I got all of this from listening to the beautiful body, listening again to the liver, and then in this case, also the kidneys, and the body telling me that it didn't need that kind of medication at this time. The beautiful thing about modern medicine, too, is I often will tell my clients, we can put it in a backpack. If we need something down the road, you can do this more invasive procedure if you need to, but let's go ahead and work on our perceptions. And interesting enough, young children are very connected to their parents. They're learning their energy from the way their parents actually move their energy. And this particular parent, like many of them that I've worked with, are terrified. They're in a lot of fear. And we could see a past life connection between her and fear, between the mother and fear from previous lifetimes. So we actually did some past life work on the mother so that she could change her vibration and have a completely different perception or significant perception. And then she's feeding her child a different perception that has less fear in connection to health issues. And we're going to talk all about past lives in the course too, and how I work with them with my clients if that comes up in our healing.
Hmm. Truly fascinating. And I'd love for you to dive a little bit more into how there's like it sounds like there's you're kind of eliciting healing or helping facilitate these perceptual shifts, but it's not like you are like, okay, you are fixing people or you're changing it. There's a little bit of like a subtle difference between a kind of like, oh, healer is fixer versus like you're eliciting something in them.
I always believe that my clients heal themselves. And
Hmm.
so when they get better, and it could be, healing doesn't always have to be a very strong, challenging disease, although I deal with those regularly in my practice. It could be that someone isn't fulfilled in their life. They're not happy and they don't know how to create a career that's fulfilling for them. We would use the same techniques. Like they're all related. People don't have to develop a disease in their body to learn what they need to learn. People can just not have the life that they want, but we're going to heal it the same way. We're going to listen, we're going to feel, we're going to transfer different forms of energy. We're going to raise our own frequency. And yes, I always give all the credit to my clients.
So let's talk a little bit about how you work, how you can start to develop a relationship with different organ systems and just kind of general body scanning and how you're kind of getting connected to a client's different organ systems.
Well, I think one of the first things that will be really fun in the course is we're just going to talk about the truth that each one of the chakras has an emotional component, and each one of the chakras governs a huge area of the organs. So, like reproductive organs, whether they're male or female organs or their organs, they have their own energy. So, the second chakra's original emotional component is joy. So, all of the organs that are associated with the second chakra, like the appendix, the kidneys, adrenal glands, the bladder, ovaries, prostate gland, all of those organs are meant to be bathed in joy and happiness. Men, or those who connect with the male energy, tend to repress guilt in that part of their body. So if a healer understands that if a person who connects with male energy is having a health challenge in that part of their body, the first thing the healer is going to know, based on how I teach and how I work, is that that person is holding guilt in that part of their body. So that's the first thing the healer is going to know, like, oh, we're going to be working with guilt. And guilt is really a mind-made emotion. It's not even an authentic emotion. It's not real. So then we would have a conversation, or I always do. I always have conversations with my clients about the emotional component that's going on in their body. Women tend, or those who identify as female, tend to repress anger in their reproductive organs. And so I would give exercises and techniques, which I will share in our course, of how to help people release anger that would be coming from the reproductive organs, which, by the way, as we were talking about the liver earlier, if a woman has a liver issue, she first repressed the anger in her reproductive organs, and then it kept growing and growing and growing. And it may not even be something that they're conscious of, because a lot of women are taught to be nice and smile a lot and pretend that everything's fine. But if the anger keeps growing, one of the places it goes to is the liver. So it can start in the reproductive organs, but end in the liver. So the healer would hold the vibration, let's say, of joy while they're working on this part of their body. They would hold the vibration of freedom, because to me, guilt is a very contracted energy. It's just layered in shame. And I think when people let go of guilt and shame, they feel free. So if I were to work with a man who had a prostate issue, the whole time that I would be working with him, I would be holding in my body the energy of freedom. And what gets tricky sometimes for the healer is that as the person starts to describe their symptoms, we may lower our vibration. So we're going to teach techniques on how the individual can maintain their own frequency and vibration that's elevated, because not only will you be sending energy to that part of that person's body and retraining, let's say, the prostate gland to function better and to lower its PSA, which is how they diagnose, of course, prostate health issues. But at the same time, if the healer runs that frequency in her body and keeps it up, then she's going to have this continual feed, and she's going to get more insight, because people do have a uniqueness to them as well. Even though we're going to teach characteristics and what's common and what normally happens, perhaps the healer will have a picture or have a feeling of swinging on a swing while he or she is maintaining that vibration. I would give that as a homework assignment to my client. If I felt swinging on a swing or had a memory of it while I was running energy into their prostate gland, I would then go, okay, and then later today, please go swing on a swing and do it, 3 times a week. And some of them will feel weird about the homework assignment. And then I'll share that was an intuitive hit that I got, for you personally, that's going to help you to get into a different frequency and vibration, so we can change your perception and get the cells within the prostate gland to change.
I love that example. That's a great example of getting unusual information that you wouldn't get from a traditional Western practitioner, but it could really shift the nature of things and what's going on in a health prognosis. So I think this is a good opportunity now to take us into a demonstration of how you might work with a particular organ and how you could lead a process of understanding and communicating and helping to heal that organ.
Great. Thank you so much. Since we talked a lot about the liver, I thought we would start with the liver. And what we're going to do as healers, we're actually going to heal our own liver and connect with it. I like to connect with my body as much as possible and listen to it, because I know the more that I connect with it, the more capable I am to connect with other organs and other people's bodies. And we want healers to stay healthy. We want them to train their own energy system to be in a high frequency. One of the organs in my family, which isn't the liver, it's actually the appendix, where 3 of my family members, 2 siblings and a nephew, have had their appendix removed in the last 5 years. So I've been hanging out with my appendix, because there's clearly something interesting going on even in our family line about the appendix. It's a very hidden, low organ. So I've been hanging out with it. It's actually kind of quiet, so I haven't quite tapped its code yet. Just shows that genetic things sometimes are a little bit more deeper into the coding, which is fascinating. But to go back, we're going to actually play with the liver. So the first thing you want to do is that if you love anatomy, that's great. We'll share some, of course, I'm going to share lots about anatomy and physiology, but fun things and interesting things. But you don't have to know the whole function of an organ. You don't even have to know where it is in the body. You don't even have to know what it looks like. But you do need to relate to it in some way that keeps you curious. So I will tell you, and many of you of our listeners already know, the liver is situated on the right-hand side of the body. It's under the rib cage. It's considered the largest internal organ in the body. The largest external organ is our skin, and it synthesizes proteins and gets rid of toxins. But what I find so fascinating and interesting about the liver, and everyone may have a different process or a different attraction, it can weigh up to 4 pounds, which I find fascinating. Like, to me, since it's the largest internal organ, it should weigh more than 4 pounds. Like, I'm so curious that it only weighs 4 pounds. So you kind of want to have that kind of reaction. You want to wait until you have that kind of reaction to it, because that means you're connecting to it. You're connecting to something unique about it that inspires you and allows you to have this relationship with the liver. So now I'm having a relationship with your liver and my liver, Stephen, and everybody else's liver, because I'm all excited that this organ only weighs up to 4 pounds. And then what once you have that feeling inside of you, you've connected to the bright light energy, the high frequency. Everything heals with bright light. Everything heals with a change of perception, which happens when you're in the bright vibrational frequency, like channelers. They raise their energy really, really high, and they bring in information and knowledge, which we all can channel at any moment if we desire to, at least for short periods of time. Um, but that happens because our energy becomes very curious and it raises its vibration and its frequency. So if everyone could put their hands out in front of you and close your eyes, and maybe some of the words that I mentioned, it's snuggled up to the rib cage, it's behind it, it's the largest internal organ in the body, it synthesizes proteins, it weighs maybe up to 4 pounds. It's also fleshy. I'm sure everyone's seen organs that look like the liver many, many times. So imagine in some way you could visualize it, you could feel it. I'm letting my hands feel the weight of 4 pounds because that's what has got me all excited. So, what we're doing right now is we're actually healing our own liver. So, if you want to imagine, and imagination and creativity is critical in the energy healing world because we look at things very differently than even modern medicine. It's critical that we allow our imagination to be powerful and playful. So your liver has now plopped into your hands, and you can do this with patients too, of course, family members, friends, pets. And I like to then imagine that the organ that I'm holding is free. So it has a lot of autonomy right now, which means it can actually pull in quite a bit of the individual light that it needs because it has its own uniqueness. Even everyone's liver is going to have slightly different belief systems than another person's liver. So I'm imagining, and you can creatively experience this. You might feel it, you might know that it's happening. You might have a hearing, sensory perception that the liver is rotating in your hands, almost like it's floating just above your fingers and the palms of your hands, and it's rotating. And it's actually happy. It's happy to be noticed and recognized and to receive this high vibrational energy. And I'm going to tone, which we will talk about in the class. I've been toning for over 25 years now. We'll talk about how to feed body parts and organs, like in this moment, with high vibrational energy. And you can tone with me if you'd like to. I'm just going to start with my tongue on the roof of my mouth and hum through my sinuses and feed the liver with whatever it needs. So we want to let the mind to relax. The mind doesn't know. This is not logical. This is intuitive. This is about frequency. This is about vibration. So we want to let go of our mind, be in the curious, fun, happy vibration of the liver. And while you're toning and connecting with this beautiful organ, don't be surprised if you get some wonderful impressions about what would be great for that individual. As I was doing this on my own liver, and this means you've got information for your own liver as well. I did see that I need to like throw some pillows and stomp my feet, maybe scream a little. And we as healers, we don't have to think about why this needs to happen. We can just allow ourselves to go, oh, okay, my liver wants that. We don't have to analyze it or process it. And so later on today, I'm definitely going to throw some pillows and scream and shout. And now we're going to take these high vibrational livers that you've spent some time with loving. We've spent some time being curious about it and interested about it. And we're going to have a lot of gratitude, like, thank you so much, liver, for being here. And thank you so much, body, for having such incredible consciousness. And thank you for my high vibrational energy for bringing in intelligence and awareness so that I may help my body to remain its high frequency of health. And then we're just going to place it back into that white right quadrant area. And keep your hands here for just a little bit, just really kind of connect, kind of rock back and forth. You're placing the largest and one of the most important internal organs, its energy, back into your physical form. And as you have your hands here, I want you to even recognize that now you're affecting the bile duct, the gallbladder, the pancreas. You're helping so many areas of your body that the liver connects to. So it's a very powerful experience.
Well, I love the playfulness too of the curiosity, and then also just saying, "Oh, throw some pillows later." That it's like it's not there doesn't have to be a kind of heaviness of working with any of the energies. That there's kind of just like a freedom and light playfulness about it as well.
I would say that is my greatest experience about working with people and their bodies. It has nothing to do with heaviness. The heaviness has already occurred. Most people who come to see energy healers have already been to a doctor or a therapist. They've already been diagnosed. They already have a health issue. Typically, the majority have. And so they need the lightness, they need the high frequency, they need the high vibration, even if the medication that they are taking from their doctor is somewhat effective. One of the things that happens and why people don't heal even with modern medicine is that most humans are not great at receiving, and energy is required even for pharmacology to work in the body, even for supplements to work significantly in the body. We need to have very high vibrational receptive energy. We need to, and when we're loving our client's body, appreciating, evaluating, that body begins to relax. Their pores and their body begin to open, and they start to take in vital life force energy. That's why a lot of people feel great once they finish a session with a healer.
Hmm. Maybe share a little bit more about things that you do as a healer to kind of keep that buoyant, uplifted energy sort of for each client session. So, I mean, there's things you're doing in a session, but between as well. Like, how are you sort of keeping that light-filled energy moving?
Great question. I think it's imperative. You have to find out what makes you happy as an individual, and then rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. You literally, like, there's certain things that don't make me happy, so I don't do them. I refuse to do them, or I wait until I feel excited to do them. So the healer has to really get to know themselves. And this is also an interesting, tricky part that we will talk about in our course. Is that healers are so good at having empathy for others. They understand people, they know what they need, they can completely relate to them, which is why people love them so much and love to be around them because they feel seen and heard. But healers usually don't know a lot about themselves. They tend to not be aware of what their own needs. So there's going to be some exploration that's required, not just once, but regularly in one's life, because our desires change over time. And so we have to ask ourselves often, is this making me happy? Is this what I want to do? Do I want to do that? And even if you don't know the answer, because that's also not uncommon for highly empathetic people, they may not know the answer immediately, but maybe they can tell their friends, I'm not sure if I want to go out to dinner with you. I don't know yet. Thank you for asking me. My
Hmm.
mind thinks it sounds like fun, but I actually don't know what I'm feeling about it. So I might need a day or two, to find out if I want to go spend time at that restaurant with you. So learning to be honest with oneself and the people in their life, or at least communicating honestly about their needs, is huge in healers running high volumes of energy in their body, which will allow them to run high volumes of energy in the people they connect with,
Hmm.
which will heal their bodies quickly and rapidly.
That makes a lot of sense. Are there ways to communicate empathy that sort of are better that you find in terms of, because I notice that sometimes people who are highly empathetic will sort of really get in there and really sort of in a way validate somebody's feelings or challenges around something, and that could lower them if they're sort of creating more of a sympathetic loop, if you will, between, but like versus like somehow getting that feeling seen, but also not sort of matching the vibration.
Another great question, Stephen. I don't recommend what you were just talking about at all. I don't think it helps at all. I know that that is the go-to. And I do think as healers begin to become more neutral, because this means moving into neutrality rather than being overly empathetic, then the healers are going to have to remember, like I have to remember to go, especially when I'm working with someone and I'm talking about their loved one that's passed. I have to remember to say, I'm so sorry your partner passed, because I'm so excited to see their departed loved one and to hear what they have to say. The loss of the individual kind of escapes me. And I think if people get curious about that, the body loves energy, loves healing, has great ideas and solutions, which could be modern medicine based, could be a combination of holistic or some other beautiful like acupuncture or a wonderful device like near infrared and red light therapy. There's so many unique and beautiful things that can work for individuals. So you have to stay in that curious place You want to catch yourself and recalibrate your own energy when you're working with others so that you won't lower your vibration, which all empathic people can do. But then they don't have their best self. They don't have all the access to their intuition. I once had a client who had a lot of pelvic floor issues, and she had done exercises, she had started hormone therapy, but not only was she in pain, but she had problems voiding. It was very complicated, and she was considering having surgery. And interesting enough, I had just, and I don't think this is a synchronicity or a coincidence. I think it is synchronistic. I had just watched a documentary about the same procedure she was going to have just by accident, so to speak. And when she talked about it, I said, no, that doesn't feel right. I felt the energy drop, which is important to notice when the energy drops, when people are making decisions or looking at choices, because that would be a no. So I actually saw one of those vibration plates that people can stand on that actually tighten muscles. And it wasn't an expensive model. It was something that was, affordable. And I said, I think you should consider standing on this vibration plate. And we also worked on joy because that's connects to the pelvic floor. That's the main emotion for all of those organs. So she stood on the vibration plate and she didn't need the surgery.
Amazing. Well, I just love the way you operate, and it's so uplifting and freeing to really approach healing in the way you do. So I want to spend time now talking about more explicitly this upcoming training with you, which I think is an amazing opportunity for anyone who's already a practicing healer or aspiring in that direction, or simply wants to get the leading edge techniques and how to work in this way for themselves and family members. So we're really excited that you're offering this training. It's a really deep dive into principles and practices of how to be a more advanced energy healer. The program is called Advanced Healing Techniques with Light and Intuition, Next Level Energy Medicine Techniques for Healers and Aspiring Professionals. It's laid out in detail at intuitionhealingmastery.com, intuitionhealingmastery.com. And it is going to be a deeper dive. It's a 20-module program that really gives you the time to cultivate skills, have shifts in your own life, to really dive into these practices in a way that liberates you and others that you work with as well. So Maria, I'd love for you to start us off talking about the program, a little about your deeper intentions for what do people walk away with by taking this training with you, and then we'll go through the modules and hit some highlights on what you're going to be teaching.
Lovely. So my greatest desire is that people feel comfortable and connected with themselves, who love healing, who have shown natural gifts and talents, or feel inspired to develop those natural gifts and talents. It's my greatest joy to help them feel great about it, to trust it, to believe in themselves, to fall in love with themselves, because that is one of the things I have all my clients do. I send one book. I send a lot of books to people, actually. I mean, I have a recommended list even. And one of the books is called Love Yourself as If Your Life Depended on It. It's a very small book, but I talk to people every single day about self-love. So I'm hoping that the healers will learn to fall in love with themselves, because that's how we raise our vibration and allow our natural gifts and talents to come through. But most importantly, I want to share all the tricks that I've used throughout the years. They're not really tricks. And I never really thought about them at all. When you asked me to teach this class, I'm like, wow, there's so many things that I offer clients, from exercises to recommendations for different types of physicians or even facilities. And I think partially because people are logical. So they have this logical mind too. And most people don't understand energy, don't understand how powerful it is or how useful it can be. So if we can get their logical mind to also have some things to do, like throughout the modules, we will be practicing a little bit of Jinshin, which is basically acupressure. So one of the things I did and still do with clients, but now I do it virtually, is I automatically do acupressure on them. I don't really know acupuncture. I've never really studied it other than what we're going to be learning. But my fingers just go to certain parts of their body, and I do presses for as long as I need to help move in the energy. So we're going to learn a beautiful technique that people can teach their clients. They're super simple, these beautiful holds that can start moving the energy, and they can do it in between sessions.
So let's go through the modules, and we don't have time to go into all the detail, but just some highlights. So module 1 is called Channel Healing Light to Amplify Your Healing Abilities.
So everyone really is the light that they seek. Everyone is already that. So during this time, we're going to really practice the art of allowing your light to shine, allowing your omnipresence to come through, and to work on this weird thing that humans have, that feeling good about yourself is actually ego, which it's not. It has nothing to do with ego. Ego is really fear. So we're going to talk about how to embrace your light, how to hold your light, how to recognize that you are light, so that we can use that frequency and the vibration as we work on people and help them to heal. That's going to be a critical part to that module.
Module 2, Align Emotional Vibrations for Optimal Immunity and Organ Health.
This will be a fascinating module, because I don't believe most people know what they're really feeling. Yet energy moves in our body based on what we are feeling, what we're pushing through our body. But I'm going to teach this technique. It's obviously for the healer, but for all clients. I also teach this technique to all my clients, every single one of them, so that they can learn to feel their emotions versus to think in their mind, because that's when people get really angry or shut down. There's a lot of diseases that are connected to overthinking, analyzing, and processing: attention deficit disorder, anxiety, depression. And I actually don't even think they're authentic diseases. I think they're created from the mind. So we're going to learn how to feel our real emotions so that they can teach their clients to do the very same thing.
Module 3, Harness Universal Love to Balance the Heart Chakra and Channel Energy, Light, Awareness, and Healing.
This goes to what you were talking about before, Stephen, this place where empathic people become too empathetic and start to project, sad energy. They don't mean to, but they're just trying to be kind. The heart chakra, which is so powerful, it's the highest receptivity center in the physical body. It's meant to be neutral. It's called universal love. And universal love is based on how the universe loves, and the universe loves everything, even things that humans think are terrible, like politics or war or famine. So we're going to figure out how, I'm going to teach techniques, obviously, how to learn to hold love towards anything, because that's going to change someone's vibration and help the healer learn how to train the heart muscle or the lungs or the breast tissue, which are all governed by that neutrality, to go back to its normal healing vibration.
Module 4, Master the Vibration of Self-Love to Heal the Digestive System and Boost Immunity.
So fascinating. So all diseases can be traced back to the intestinal tract and the immune system. And that third chakra governs the immune health of the body, even hormone levels. And a lot of what creates health issues, like chronic things like fibromyalgia, Lyme's disease, all these really interesting autoimmune disorders, are greatly related to the person's self-critical thinking that's going on in their mind. So we're going to learn a lot of techniques on how to stop that and how to move into authentic self-love, really self-nurturing, even from very young stages of one's life where people didn't get the love that they truly wanted, or they didn't recognize it or believe in it and didn't absorb it.
Module 5, Cultivate Joyful Communication to Heal and Energize the Deep Internal Organs.
I have this one client who has a very serious health issue. Like, he probably should have died 5 times by now. It's so significant. And he wouldn't take modern medicine, which is fine too. But that was the only thing I could see for him that would help him, because I asked him one simple thing: please stop eating sugar. And he eats sugar by the handfuls, every kind of candy, dessert. And I said, it's going to be hard for your body to get better holistically if you keep eating sugar. I couldn't stop. So we did a deep dive into the sweetness of life for him. And we literally went into a part of his body that wasn't even affecting his health issue. We literally went into the pancreas and helped it to move into the authentic sweetness of life. And interesting enough, because we did this work together, he went to his doctor and said, okay, I'll do some of the treatments. His doctor was shocked. His doctor said, how come you're doing them now? He goes, a medical intuitive asked me to. He goes, what? And then he stopped eating sugar. And he feels fantastic. He feels fantastic. So we'll do deep dives into, even though his disease was in a different part of his body, a unique part of his body had the answers and the communication and the perception that needed to be shifted.
Module 6, Trust your intuition and the body's wisdom to enhance your healing powers.
Just like that, when we were working on the I was talking about a client who had a health issue and the prostate, and I got that image for him to go swing on a swing. Like, I want the healers to trust their own amazing divine intelligence. Organs actually, and the whole body, they heal simply. It's not complicated, but humans make it super, super complicated. It's actually very simple. So we're going to work on knowing when you're in that place, which means you feel more of that bright light. You feel the curiosity, the more happiness. It's not a stressful thought. It's not oh, I have to figure this out. It's more of a, wow, that's weird, but okay, I'm going to share that and see what it does for that individual.
Module 7, hone your mind and aura with precision to maintain a healthy healer's state of mind.
The aura is so amazing. Let's say we're working with a client. This has happened to me many times, and their chakras look amazing. They're vibrating in the emotional component. They're a great color, but they have a health issue. Well, if it's not in the chakras, it's going to be in the largest landscape of their energy system, their auric real estate. The aura is huge. It has either a phrase or a word on every layer. It has its own unique color combination. And one of the things that can happen to the auric field, just from one field going a little haywire, it will start to leak and bleed into other fields and almost cause like a chain reaction, like cars on a freeway that just all crash into each other because one stops. And so we're going to spend time balancing the auric field for ourselves and for our clients and identifying health issues within the auric field so that people can heal. Even if their chakras look good, doesn't mean that their energy isn't affected.
Module 8, discover what organs feel like to lead yourself and others to powerful wellness.
I loved when we were holding the liver. The liver, when I was holding it, and we're going to hold our organs during this class, 4 pounds isn't very heavy, but it felt like it had so much meat inside of it. And the liver is really dense. It's a very dense organ. And yet it's an organ that we can't live without. And yet it's an organ that will actually rejuvenate itself. So that's a lot to understand about a particular organ, that it can actually rejuvenate itself. So if people start to think of each one of the organs and the unique capacities that will approach it, they're going to be sending high vibrational frequencies, as we've discussed before, into these organs to repower them to start to function as if the liver did rejuvenate itself. If we can hold that vibration, it actually will.
Module 9, transform stubborn energies to enhance your bone health and vitality.
So the root chakra governs all the bones in the body and all the blood. And the root chakra is about childhood. So for example, when I work with people who have leukemia or they have osteoporosis, I know immediately they have repressed childhood issues. Even if they tell me they don't, and they had a great childhood, I'm going to be very curious about that. I will listen to them, of course, but I'm going to hold in my mind that they have repressed child issues. So one of the things that we can do to help people heal and understand or keep their bones healthy, no matter how old they are, is to actually nurture their inner children inside. I will ask clients to pretend that they're carrying their infant self around the house and telling it how gorgeous it is and pretending that they're breastfeeding or bottle feeding it. They don't have to do it. It's all in their head for a period of months so that they can heal and give the nurturing that they didn't get as a child. And then lo and behold, their cancer goes away, their osteoporosis is healed. It's incredibly amazing.
Module 10, regulate your nervous system to align with your higher self and boost healing.
So when people channel, which you're a very good channeler, Stephen, when people channel, their crown chakra goes hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of miles way up into the universe. It just flies. It's very healthy. Channelers need to have very large crown chakras. The seventh vortex governs the entire neurological system. So all of the nerves in the body are even governed by this beautiful vortex. If we can allow our students in this beautiful class to let their knowingness to come through and to feel their connection to their higher self, which they are meant to, like it's normal and natural for everyone, but especially healers, they have to allow information that no one would ever think about or believe was even possible that could change a situation. And so we're going to be working on all of that so that people can heal things like MS or Lou Gehrig's disease. So imagine That means that people who get neurological diseases don't have that channel or connection happening with the universe. That's what's creating that disease for them.
Module 11, empower kids and parents with energy techniques to promote healing and harmony.
Yeah, so I think kids are really fast healers. They're super smart. They came fresh from God. They're incredible. So when I do a session with a kid, I only usually allow it for like 30 minutes even. But I always work on the parents. And so I always have a parent present when I work with a child, always, even if they're 16 or 17, because kids don't always remember their history as well. And intuitives can pick up on all kinds of information. What we're really doing when we're working with kids is we're helping them to remember their original consciousness. Something has come in and disrupted that consciousness, which could be beneficial for their own healing. In other words, some kids, if a child has a childhood disease, they picked that before they reincarnated. So we want to find out why they picked that disease from a past life perception, not to shame or blame or feel guilty about, but from, wow, you wanted this, like type 1 diabetes. Most people are diagnosed in childhood from it. And so they had to pick that disease before they reincarnated. So we want to empower the family, empower the child so that they can either heal from that disease or manage it perfectly and beautiful and allow all their organs to stay healthy their entire life.
Module 12, practice letting go to enhance your healing impact.
One of the greatest gifts to intuition is not knowing. And so many people want to know all the answers. I want to know, why is that happening? How come that isn't happening? But you have to move into the not knowing, that curiosity, like you don't care almost, as if you're just hanging out in the ethers, like walking into a virgin forest. Or maybe it's going to be a virgin forest for someone who just hasn't been in that particular forest before. Like you're putting your feet for the first time on that fresh soil. You don't have an expectation. You don't know what kind of animals live there. You may hear a sound, but you don't know if it's a bear or a mountain lion. You're just going to stay in this expansive area of letting go because it's the not knowing that gives you the great insight possible to create transformation. And what happens as you tell your clients about these perceptions or experiences, even energetically, that helps them to change their perception too. They start letting go. They start having different perceptions, even if they don't follow the homework that you recommend, which we're going to talk a lot about homework, which I always recommend for all clients. I have lots of clients that don't do their homework, but they still change because we talked about it and it got in their curiosity and they started to let go of old belief systems or ideas and it got them to change.
Module 13, embrace all healing paths to transmute harsh pharmacology and elevate your intuitive support.
I think this is one of the greatest gifts I received in my lifetime. Of course, to love holistic medicine, which is my go-to. I see my naturopath first and foremost. But to go into the hospital and to see the incredible things that modern medicine can do just rocked my world. One of the things I do for all of my clients, if they're going to have surgery, anyone who's going to have surgery, I send energy weeks or months before their procedure to the OR room so that all the surgeons and circulating staff get all the sleep they need at night. Everyone's had a good breakfast, that all the correct tools will be there, all the correct apparatuses, like if someone needs a valve put into their heart or their artery. So we can send energy to anything, even a bag of chemotherapy. So it's important for healers to embrace all aspects. I believe creation made everything, even the OR room.
Module 14, honors souls' transitions to the other side to support the living and the dying.
This is a temporary reality where you and I live, and all of us. This is not permanent. And humanity has not figured out yet how to just walk out of their bodies. There are masters that do that and walk among us. They just walk out of their bodies. So typically, most human beings, something happens to their body, and that's how they let their energy loose so it can go to the other side. So I think we need to honor those decisions. Some healers feel guilty or bad that their patient didn't heal. And you can certainly feel sad for someone leaving, or you may have wished that they would have lived longer. But what if we honored the decision first, when the person wanted to leave, how they wanted to exit their body? I think that would also create conversations. I've had clients come back and visit me after they've crossed over. And that's super fun to have this continued relationship and connection and have them tell me how they're doing on the other side. And what they tell you is so interesting and shocking. They are so grateful because they understand energy far more than they ever did before. But that we need to honor even death because it's a part of our life. It's our life experience.
Module 15, employ distance energy work to enhance client connection and understanding.
Yeah, distance work is powerful. I used to see everybody in person. Now I see everybody distance. But sometimes some of my clients who I would see regularly in person, maybe they had a cold and they couldn't come or their car broke down. And I would do a distance session for them. And I was shocked because I was somewhat more detached while we were in distance session. And I got to something that I had never seen about them before, understood. They got a huge, big awareness or consciousness, even though we'd worked together many, many times. So I think distance work is extremely powerful. It's very easy. I'm going to teach how to draw out the energy and the auric field even before you connect with your client. So you can have a heads up of what's coming down the pike and kind of see their energy on this piece of paper so that you can connect intuitively before you connect with them online.
Module 16, expand your auric field for greater energetic awareness.
The aura is meant to extend 3 city blocks in every direction. Most humans keep their aura at 7 feet, which makes it very difficult for them to heal. So when the aura is 3 city blocks in every direction, it's going to fill up with energy. It's going to fill up with light. The universe is not a vacuum. But when people contract it at 7 feet, that's why we teach it in textbooks at 7 feet. Then they don't have a lot of wiggle room to take in more subatomic particles. So we're going to teach how to expand the auric field. And I teach that to my clients as well, so that they can keep their auric field expanded and have more, not only just energy, but awareness and consciousness. That's the true form of protection, because I don't really believe in protection. I think that elicits fear. But when you have your energy expanded, you can feel if that restaurant has the best food for you that you're walking by, or if is that the country that you want to go visit on your vacation. You can feel it with your auric field with much more accuracy when it's expanded.
Module 17, be open to communication from departed loved ones for wisdom, insight, love, and support.
I was working on this one client that I'd known for years, and I had no idea that she was a smoker. She must brush her teeth and washed all of her clothes because I have very sensitive nose. She came into the house. I laid hands on her, and 3 of her aunts came to the session. I'd never met them before. They told me they were her mom's sisters. And I said, "Do you have 3 aunts?" She goes, "Yep." And I go, "They're showing me that you smoke. Do you smoke?" She goes, "Yep." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I go, "They're telling you have to quit right now. You've smoked enough. I hope that was fun, but you've reached your threshold, that you can't have any more tobacco in your body or nicotine." And she quit within a couple weeks because her aunts came to visit.
Hmm.
So healers notoriously, and I mean that in a positive way, become mediums. Just like many mediums start to read their clients' bodies because it's all energy. So we need to allow that experience to happen, because I had no idea this woman was a smoker and I had worked with her for years.
Module 18, heal your past lives for lasting change and spiritual growth.
When I'm working with a client, and this does not happen in every session, I don't know why. I don't ask the why. I just stay curious. When I start to feel energy on the left-hand side of me, I know that a past life is going to open up and that we need to change the hologram of the past life. So when we have a lifetime and it ends in a way that we are okay with it, it kind of just dissolves. It doesn't really have an effect on us anymore. But when we have a lifetime that we're like, "Ugh, that wasn't fun," it remains as a hologram, and it floats outside of our auric field every time we reincarnate to physical realities like Earth. And when it starts to open up, it means that we just need to change the outcome, because it's just a hologram. It doesn't have to be the same. So when I teach to listen to the soul, to show you the outcome that it wanted or that it could have happened, like we have many options to every decision that we make. And then we're going to program it into the hologram. And it takes about 3 weeks. It'll affect that hologram, so it'll close, but also affect every lifetime since that lifetime. Positively. It's going to change the perception of someone significantly on that topic for sure, and maybe many others that are connected to it.
Module 19, follow joy to experience success and fulfillment in your business.
Well, I just recently realized, thanks to some nice people, that I'm really good at what I do, even business wise. And my personal philosophy is to follow my joy. I don't do things that don't bring me joy. I don't do marketing techniques that don't bring me joy. I do the things that bring me joy. And I think that's what's created the success and the financial freedom that I've gotten from my work. And so we're going to talk a lot about that because a lot of people don't know what joy feels like. They stay in their mind, try and analyze and process it and measure it. It really is just an emotion. And so this will take us back to, the empathic healer learning to understand his or herself, their self, and also to follow the joy. No matter what anyone says, follow the joy. That's where the rainbow is. That's where the freedom is, the financial freedom and the success that everyone deserves. And when healers step into that success, they can do more for their community as well.
And finally, module 20, embrace the light of creation to elevate your energy, intuition, and healing powers.
Once we get to module 20, it's going to be about, okay, now it's time to put all of this into action. Like you've trusted yourself now, you know how to be in the unknown or the nothingness of life. You found your joy, you know how to separate from anxiety, yourself, and you know how to communicate with organs. So you have all this information. Now it's time for you to put it into action. So we're going to talk about necessary tools. When you wake up first thing in the morning, what would be the best thing for you to do? What would be the best thing to do before you go to bed at night? How can you prepare your day to allow yourself to implement all of these strategies and the unique ones that you got along the way? Because you're going to get insight that's going to be uniquely yours during this 20-week course as well.
Well, what a truly unique and amazing program. I mean, you cover such a deep range of things, and it's really obvious like how much skill and mastery you have. So again, all of the program is laid out in detail at intuitionhealingmastery.com. So you're just getting a sneak preview of some of what's coming, but it's really clear Marie is just pouring a lifetime of wisdom into this program. So if you choose to join, you'll get not only the 20 90-minute live sessions with Marie, which is going to include recordings of every session, both video and audio, as well as word-for-word transcripts. There's weekly exercises and practices for home. There's a Facebook community to support you and deepen your connections around this work, as well as small group time to connect with other participants. And on the information page, you'll also see a number of extra bonuses to enhance your journey. They have there's a video teaching with Marie called Energy Healers Are Mediums Too. There's an audio recording from Marie called Discover More of Your Authentic, Powerful Self. And there's a third special bonus you get if you sign up by midnight tonight Pacific time. This is called The Dance of the Aura. This is a video teaching with Marie. And Marie, you want to share a little bit about that special bonus folks get if they sign up today?
When people go to like psychic fairs and someone will take the picture of their aura, I just want to say, I hope it doesn't look like that. I mean, it doesn't look like that anyway. It's such an organized, incredible piece of artwork. Each one has its own definition, its own color. Some of them have skies within them and clouds, and others have structure. They're just stunningly beautiful. So to understand the vibration of each layer of the auric field helps you to understand the human physical form and its incredible capabilities. Like humans are amazing. They're powerful beings. And so when you understand the auric field, you begin to get greater insight into the magnificence of humanity.
Amen to that. Well, it's truly going to be an amazing program, and what a unique opportunity to learn a whole lifetime of mastery from you. So we've kept the investment really accessible for the depth and power of this content. It's 5 payments of $395, or you can save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $17.99. The course is going to start on October 7th and run Mondays at 11 Pacific or 2 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings and the transcripts in the community as well. And there's lots of great testimonials on the page that you can read over at intuitionhealingmastery.com. Really give a sense for just the power of Marie's teaching. It's one of the best intuitives I've come across. Each class session is a gem of radical joy, insightful, direct, and supportive. Grown in spirit and expanded my abilities to intuit and heal. So she's a great and empowering mentor for you as a healer and in whatever form that takes in the world. So you're in great hands, and you will be empowered with a life-changing body of practices and insights and upliftment. So again, it's all at intuitionhealingmastery.com. So Marie, it's just been, wow, what an hour, a little over an hour with you. You are just a fountain of great insight and uplifting energy. So thank you for this time. Anything that's still on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering doing the full advanced healing techniques with light and intuition program with you?
Thank you, Stephen. It's been a joy to hang out with you as well, as always. That I just feel so honored to pass on who I believe the universe is my teacher. I believe I'm an employee of the universe. I've thought that from the very beginning. So I feel so grateful that I get to pass on these teachings, these understandings, these high vibrational, which may seem fun or silly at times, but really the universe is very fun. It's very loving, unconditionally loving frequency and vibration. And so I'm excited to have healers to feel that abundance, to feel that measurement of being loved so that they can pass it on to the people that they touch and encourage their bodies to heal naturally, which they can, of course, but also to embrace the team if it's necessary, to embrace all of it, to feel that creation is in everything that we use to help heal our bodies. We just have to change our energy and our perception, and then it's all done.
Beautiful. What a blessing you are. Thank you for your teachings and your presence and your inspiration. And thank you all for joining. And if you'd like to go further to learn these advanced techniques, you are welcome to do so at intuitionhealingmastery.com. And you'll get that special bonus when you sign up by midnight tonight, which is the Dance of the Aura. So thank you so much. Many blessings.